Good morning, Four Star Nation, and welcome to day. What is this? Day 5. We've been here now. I feel like
day 4.
Day 4.
And day 3 of practice.
Yeah, day 3 practice kicks off today. Yesterday was a nasty one out there, to say the least. A lot of rain, a lot of wind yesterday practice as well. But Brandon, it's been a great time down here. Of course, today's the last day of practice, but when you look at these 3 days of practice, man, or 2 days of practice going into the third today, who are you looking forward to today? I know we've asked the same question every day, but who are you looking forward to today?
The obvious choice for me, because I'm a Memphis guy, is Calvin Austin. He's looked great both days so far. He's just smoking dudes off the line. That first step we talked about with him last week is just unbelievable. But you got him, you got Jerome Ford from Cincinnati. He's been good. I talked about him last night on the Pick'em show. And then you got other guys that have just been added to the roster that we haven't seen yet. I think they added 3 guys this morning. And one of them was on the elevator with us this morning. So it's really funny. But I don't know, man. There's so many guys out here. I think you said there's 33 wide receivers here. There's so many guys to keep up with. Of course, everybody else is trying to keep up with your A-list guys. I'm willing to think that we're the only media brand here that's covering Dylan Parham, Calvin Austin, and Gregory Jr. Exclusively. And that's because we have ties to all 3 of them. They're all good guys. They're all worth cheering for, just like you are and I am. And hopefully they can make a name for themselves not only today but in the game on Saturday.
Yeah, most definitely, man. When you look at those guys, Calvin Austin, Dylan Parham, and Gregory Jr. Got an article out right now on 4star.live about Gregory Jr. Let's talk a little bit about Gregory for just a minute. Day 1.
A lot more about
Yeah, day 1, I don't want to say he was timid. I just feel like he had to get an understanding for what exactly he's going to be like. But Brandon, when you look at transformation from day 1 to day 2, and of course we'll see him this morning here in a couple hours, but day 2 yesterday, I think Greg's starting to come into his own now. Your mic was muted that whole time. Gregory Jr. Yeah, you're on now.
Sorry. I don't know if any of you heard what I just said.
They didn't.
That's very embarrassing. Let me go back through that. Summarization of what I said is the fact that Gregory Jr. Was at the NFLPA Bowl, decided to come play in the Senior Bowl, says, hey, if you want to watch me play, you're going to Mobile to watch me play. I basically said, I don't know much about the NFLPA Bowl, but I do know that Mike Tomlin probably was not there, head coaches, execs, scouts, everything like that, and if you're an underdog and you have the underdog killer mentality, then you should basically be here playing as hard as you can every snap. I just got a text message from Patrick Blake telling me, can't hear y'all. Patrick, was because my mic was muted while I was talking.
Everybody watching right now, 4-Star Sports Media, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, and also 4-Star Sports Show Facebook page. We got Russell Copeland coming on with us. I'm really looking forward to getting his insight just on the draft and everything, really. But yeah, when you look at Gregory Jr., man, yesterday he made another step forward, and I'm really looking forward to it too today, just to see how he can do again. Now, we're going to have weather again down here today. It's going to be raining all day. The game Saturday is supposed to be nice, supposed to be a little chilly. Saturday afternoon, 1:30 p.m. kickoff on NFL Network. Also, today's practices will be televised on the national practice will be televised on ESPNU. The American practice at 2 p.m. will be televised on ESPN2. We went down to the convention center this morning, ran into Cole Kubelek, and walked by Cole Kubelek and Greg McElroy.
That was nice. They were live. I didn't want to bother them. They were live on air. Greg McElroy is a college not only that, but he's like a legend. I mean, he's won a national championship at Alabama. He won SEC MVP or SEC championship game MVP. I mean, he was the first quarterback that Nick Saban had, first guy that was notable. Then you went into the McCarron years and everything like that. But yeah, they were super nice. I wish we would have stayed down there a little bit longer. Probably would have gotten guys like Malik and Willis and Bailey Zappi on and everything for a few minutes, but because of the confusion of the schedule, we didn't really get to see anybody. But that's okay. We get to see everybody do their thing on the field today.
Yeah.
Maybe I get to see my hero go. I can go up to him and be like, "Go Tigers!" And I can go up, Great State, Louisiana.
Yeah, most definitely, man. When you look at talking about Greg and Cole quick, we've had Cole Kubelek on. He does a great job.
And Cole had probably one of the better sound bites we've ever had on this show. We weren't small, but we weren't as big as we are right now at that time. Right. And Cole was just talking about the whole NIL and transfer portal and everything like that, and he was like avid for it, but also not.
Very leery.
Yeah, he was very leery of the whole situation because you look at college athletes nowadays, and Coach Saban talked about it at the summit on Tuesday. You look at college athletic kids are scared of competition nowadays, and they think it's okay as soon as the first glimpse of competition walks in. They think, well, maybe I get more playing time at this other school, or maybe I can transfer somewhere and make a name for myself. That's not how it works. That's never how it's worked in college athletics. If you're going to make a name for yourself, it's because you're going to work your ass off, and two, you're going to do what's necessary to get you to that point. So I think a lot of us, as far as media personalities down here in Mobile, all agree on that. And I know this isn't the NIL or transfer portal circuit down here. Right. We're covering the Senior Bowl, but it is a necessary thing to talk about.
Yeah, most definitely. Really all four coaches Tuesday night definitely were, I feel like, quite open about of the Senior Bowl or of the transfer portal and NIL. Nick Saban had a soundbite that has now been tweeted out everywhere. Basically said, "Hey, we don't pay our players." Is there truth to that? Who knows?
I don't think there's a lot of truth to that, but he's the one who's saying it, not me. Right. He's the one who runs the college football program, not me. So I can sit there and tell you he's paying a guy. I don't know for fact, but I'm not stupid. So you can tell me one thing. It doesn't mean I'm gonna straight up hear you on that.
Very true, very true. But when you look at Cole Kubelek and Greg McElroy, Greg was working for XM Radio. He also works for ESPN, calls games. So does Cole. But man, those guys, I think both those guys together down in Birmingham do an incredible job on the radio. I've listened to their show numerous times. They're very honest. They're very open. And if you remember when Kayvon Thibodeau made that comment about Alabama, Greg McElroy was pissed off on air, and he actually tweeted out, tagged Kayvon in it, and said, "Come down to Alabama, and let's take a Wonderlic test and see who does better." Greg McElroy scored damn near perfect on his Wonderlic, by the way. If you go back and look at Wonderlic scores, I can't remember what the actual number is for best, and he was like 2 or 3 away from perfect score. Perfect score. But yeah, when you look at those two guys, man, they did a great job covering college football, and they've done a good job down here. They were down here yesterday for practice, and it's really cool to watch Cole Kubelek just light up when the offensive and defensive linemen are working. Obviously, he was a center at Auburn, had a great career at Auburn, and he knows the game. He knows exactly.
It's also funny. They're based out of Birmingham. You have an Auburn grad and an Alabama grad having a show together. Who would have thought those two guys would be the ones to get together and have a very successful show at that? But yeah, shout out to those guys. They were perfect. We didn't really talk to them. Right. We waved at them, and they both waved back at us with a smile on their face. At 7 in the morning, not many people are capable of doing that. But while we're shouting people out, let's give a good shout out to Sidecar Cafe over there on Witten Road. Soon to have a South Haven location here. Sidecar Cafe right here. Well, right here because it's on this side of my hat. But yeah, shout out to Rick Haga, Joseph Michael, those guys over there. We've been doing it all week and saying it all week. If it wasn't for those guys, we wouldn't be here today. They are big supporters of what we do over here at 4-Star, and we are big supporters of what they do over there on Witten Road and soon to be in South Haven right next to the Landers Center.
Yeah, most definitely. Sidecar Cafe, Germantown Village, Wine and Liquor, Stephen Plunk over there, and BA Mask are our 3 sponsors. And they've done an incredible job with us thus far. Once again, thank everybody right now for watching on Facebook, 4-Star Sports Media, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Also, we're on live right now at 4-Star Sports Show Facebook page as well. Thank you to all of our listeners and supporters. We wouldn't be here without you. We do it for you guys, and it's been a blast to do it thus far, and it's growing every day.
Absolutely.
But Brandon, day 3 is today. It's the final practice.
It's the final countdown.
It is the final practice, and yesterday we saw a little bit of a different practice routine. They did a little bit of a walkthrough, they stretched real quick, and then they got to 11 on 11s. What I enjoyed watching was
that quick because they did go through lineman drills and everything like that, but they weren't doing the little ticky-tack drills they were doing the first day. They were going harder. Yeah. So you thought they'd ramp up the intensity a little bit. I think today is going to be more of a slower day. I think they're still going to do their 11 on 11s and everything like that. I think you're just going to see more skills put to test today rather than you are, hey, I'm going 120% all day long. I mean, you're one day in between from game day. Of course, kickoffs at 1:30 on Saturday on NFL Network. Please watch. Please watch. Support NFL Network. Those guys were nothing but great to us. The first day we got up there in the press box. Unfortunately, we weren't able to go to the press box yesterday or today, but those guys were perfect, and they were cool when we got to meet them. But, yeah, watch the Senior Bowl, support the Senior Bowl. Jim Nagy has done just – Wes, I don't know many people who have done a better job with their certain event. Everything's ran pretty smooth down here. The credential process went really quickly. The guy has been doing – I think he started this in 2018. I think he got the job either 2017 or 2018. So this is only his 4th or 5th Senior Bowl. But he's done the job that he's done has been incredible. You don't see it across sports. He gets the best of the best down here as far as seniors to come play. He's continuously adding guys to the roster throughout the week to get those guys to showcase their talents and everything. Tonight you have the East-West Shrine game, which, let's be honest, it's a bit of a drop in the bucket compared to this. But it'll be fun. It's on, I don't know, I think it's on ESPN tonight. It's on NFL Network tonight. Never mind, at 7 o'clock in Las Vegas, Nevada. Should be fun, guys. We're really excited to have Russell Copeland joining us here in a few moments. And just thought I'd brag on Jim Nagy and the job that his whole crew does down here at the Senior Bowl. Molly's been great to us as far as everything when it comes to answering questions, getting back to us in a swift, prompt manner. And all the other media people that we've met down here have been incredible. I mean, all the way from local radio places to ESPN writers to everything. Everybody's been nothing short of nice, and we're lucky to be here for today, tomorrow, and Saturday.
Definitely want to piggyback off what you were saying about the Senior Bowl. From Jim Nagy to Sylvester Croom, everyone involved. Molly Middleton does an incredible job with media relations down here. This is a first-class run event from start to finish. Now, Tuesday, I think they were a little lax in areas that they realized they can't be, and they made prompt changes to yesterday. But, man, I tell you, with Senior Bowl Day 3, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch these quarterbacks again. Malik Willis, I think, took a step forward yesterday at practice. Desmond Ridder had a better day of practice yesterday. I did see where an NFL Draft NFLDraft.com posted a video on Twitter yesterday saying that they felt Desmond Ridder threw the best pass of the entire day yesterday, which was just a little in route coming across the middle, put a ball on a frozen rope and hit the guy dead in the
Talk about guys who were going to have a better day yesterday, and Desmond Ridder was one of them. And what did he do? He had one of the best days he's had. Yeah. I mean, of course, it's only 2, but he had a very good day yesterday.
Right.
When you look at Day 3, Brandon, we got Russell Copeland going on roughly 10 minutes. When you look at Day 3, who are some guys that we maybe haven't talked about this week so far that you think is going to have a big day today?
Brian Robinson out of Alabama. Brian Robinson Jr., I mean, the guys, you look at him and you realize how big he is. He's a tank. He's huge. And we haven't heard a lot about him. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to hear a lot about him today. I think you will. But also, I think he's the type of guy that's going to step up during the game and make an impact for himself. You got guys like him, and then Braylon Sanders out of Ole Miss. He's been pretty good. Dontario Drummond was added to the roster late or earlier this week. He's only had 1 day of practice. You got guys all over the field that haven't really, I mean, they're stars, but they haven't really made that star impact yet. I mean, as I've already said, you had guys like Calvin Austin stepping up saying, hey, this is a stage where I'm going to shine brightest. And he's done that. But those are 3 guys that I really think can have a bigger impact on what they do in practice today. And Lord, let's say a prayer real quick. Heavenly Father, please let it stop raining. I know all of our friends in Memphis and the Memphis area are dealing with just terrible, terrible weather right now as far as ice and everything. But Lord, please let the rain hold off just for a little bit, just until practice is over. Let it be your will, Lord. Amen. Because we have to stop this rain down here, dude. It has rained nonstop since we got here. So the first practice was dry. We leave practice. What happens? Starts raining. It actually started raining right after the summit on the way back to the hotel.
Yeah.
So from Tuesday night until now, and it's still 100% chance of rain all day, I mean, I guess these guys are getting to show a little bit extra skill because they're playing with a wet football out there. But, I mean, come on now. Any team that can get their hands on a guy that can catch a ball in the rain, if they play in a dome, they're going to be extremely happy with the guys they're going to be able to grab. But, yeah, man, and I know people want to hear us talk about Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
He's as advertised, as I said. I mean, he's making every throw. He went from 2 gloves to 1 glove yesterday, which maybe he goes to no gloves today.
I don't know.
Yeah, everybody's been talking about his hand size. Listen, Wes, your hand size, I don't give a shit what your hand size is. If you can play football, you can play football.
Right.
It doesn't matter how big or small or tall or fast or short you are. If you have skills, you can play in the National Football League. And that's what these kids are down here trying to do. Yes, you get all their measurements. Yes, you get this, that, and the other type of news from these kids. But, I mean, I'm going to continue to talk about them. Look at Calvin Austin. He's 5'7", 173 pounds, and that might be soaking wet. Dude's making a name for himself. I mean, I saw posts all day yesterday with him, and I showed it to you this morning. His route running is unmatched compared to everybody down here. Like, he by far has the best first step I've ever seen out of a wide receiver. But he's a guy, as I continuously say, and I'm sure everybody's getting sick of me saying it, has impressed me more. And I guess probably because I have my eyes on him more than I do anybody else on the field besides Dylan Parham. Being the Memphis guy that I am, yes, I'm biased towards those guys, but this is a non-biased take. Those guys have impressed this week. And I'm willing to tell all of our listeners right now, if there was a betting system where you could bet on these kids to be drafted, not undrafted free agents, I would be willing to bet both of them get drafted. Parham has been out of position, I guess you could say. He never really played center at the University of Memphis. I think he had a couple snaps at center and everything because you had Dustin Woodard and guys like that in front of him. He's kind of a utility lineman. You can play him at guard, center, or tackle. He's been playing out of position at center this week. He's done a great job. There's videos all over Twitter of his blocking, and he's just manhandling some of these guys. And some of these guys that he's manhandling are huge. And he's just chipping them off. I mean, it looked like he was plowing through the entire SEC West yesterday. And plus Georgia. Wyatt, him and Wyatt got a little chippy at one point, we saw. And I thought Wyatt was about to throw hands, and Dill was like, "Not today, little fella. Not today, little fella."
Man, it's been a very interesting 2 days of practice, and I think it's even more interesting. Frank had a very special Mr. Russell.
Tiger legend, Russell Copeland.
Tiger legend for sure. He's part of the radio crew on the road games for the University.
He's part of the Memphis Tigers radio network.
Yeah, so he's definitely connected to the program, and also played in the NFL. So we can talk a little bit about the NFL draft as well. But man, when you look at day 3, a guy I'm really looking forward to today to see if he can continue to improve is Bailey Zappi. He's a young man that I think has a lot of eyes on him, as he should. And I think he's slowly climbing up.
I think every quarterback here has eyes on him. I think Zappi had a rough first day of practice from what I've heard and seen. He had a pretty good second day. I didn't pay a whole lot of attention to him. Everybody's eyes are on Kenny Pickett. I mean, he's the best quarterback here besides Malik Willis. And luckily, those two are separated by team. So the national practice, all eyes are on Kenny Pickett. The American practice, all eyes are on Malik Willis. Both those guys are going to be NFL starters. But I'm not going to sit out here and rule out guys like Carson Strong or Bailey Zappi from making that next step. Sam Howell hasn't looked too bad. He's had some really good throws. I think something that hindered him was his depth as far as skill position this past year at North Carolina. 2 years ago he had an incredible year and he was supposed to be a top 5 pick and kind of fell off this past year. But Um, I think your smaller guys that went to smaller schools like Zappy and like Carson Strong are taking that next step, and they're going to continue to develop into an NFL caliber quarterback.
Most definitely. Speaking of small schools, Malik Willis yesterday during one of the press interviews.
Liberty's a massive school, by the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm saying as far as like Power 5, that type of level, he not even has stuck with me. He said for not only him, but every player here that's from a, quote, small school, they have a chip on their shoulder. There's been times that they felt disrespected during this process.
Well, the problem is you have these media outlets. No offense to you guys, but complete offense to you guys, because I don't give two shits. Y'all promote the Power 5 like it's this unmatched, just next coming of Jesus Christ, when it's just football. You can put 11 guys against 11 guys. I don't care if they go to a NAIA school, a D2 school, or a non-Power 5 school. They can still get on that field, and I don't care if you're Georgia, Alabama, LSU, whoever. Any team that makes the playoffs, you line up, play that 11 on 11, you can get beat. We've seen it. I mean, it happens. I mean, in the first thing I think about when you think about it is Michigan versus Appalachian State back in 06. Michigan was a top 5 team. App State went into the big house, said, all right, I'll raise you one. We're going to whoop your ass. What'd they do? They blocked a kick, ran it back for a touchdown, won the damn game. You have to play the game before you can make assessments. And don't get me wrong. You look at guys around the league, and currently in the NFL, that are like, oh, he went to a Power 5 school. He went to, don't get me wrong, I love Joe Burrow, but he went to LSU. He's used to playing in this environment. That's more than fine. That's incredible. Josh Allen went to Wyoming.
Yeah.
Josh Allen played in the Mountain West Conference, went to Wyoming. Nobody knew who he was. Ended up being a first-round pick, and look at what he's turned into. A pretty damn good quarterback. And it's not just exclusive to the quarterback position. You look at guys like Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill went to a small school. He's one of the best receivers in the NFL. Look at guys like Devontae Adams, who is the best receiver, in my opinion, in the NFL. Went to Fresno State. Non-Power 5 schools, dude. And I don't mean to harp on this too much, but part of my argument against that is like, what's the difference between a Power 5 and a non-Power 5 school? One, you're in a bigger conference, and two, you have more money. Those are the main differences. But being a Memphis fan that I am, I think Memphis can line up against anybody in the country, go out there and give them a football game. I don't care if we're a 6-6 team or if we're a 10-3 team. We saw it in the Cotton Bowl. They lined up against Penn State, went match for match. I mean, they were throwing blows the whole game. Yes, a couple plays lost Memphis that game. A couple plays. 2 plays lost Memphis that game. A pick six and a dropped pass. I mean, that's 14 points right there. You lost by 13, you win by 1. But, Wes, like, when it comes to the Power 5 versus non-Power 5 argument, it's just stupid to make that argument, man, especially at this level.
Completely agree. All right, man, it's time for a special guest today. We only got one day, and it's a special one.
Legend.
Bringing on Mr. Copeland now. Internet's running a little weird here. But, Russell, how are you doing, man? We appreciate you coming on today.
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you, Wes, for having me.
Thanks to it, Russell. When you look at the 2022 Reese Senior Bowl, that's bastard here. They're here for a reason.
I'm having a hard time hearing you guys. I'm having a hard time hearing you guys.
Russell, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you a little bit better. It's a lot of static in.
A lot of static. All right. Can you hear me now?
He's off camera. Is that better?
Can you hear me now, Russell?
Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay.
It's still going in.
Russell, when you look at the Reese's. Okay. you look at the recent Russell, the best of the best are here for a reason. Earned this position to be here. Calvin Austin is here from University of Memphis. Dylan Parham as well. We've talked about it. Dylan Parham's playing center down here, Russell. And I'll be honest with you, based on media sources,
He's kicking dudes' asses. That's what he's doing.
He's wearing people in here, Russell. We'll talk a little bit about Dylan as an NFL.
I didn't hear everything that you said, but I think that you were talking about Dylan Parham. I think he's been playing center. Are you guys able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think Dylan coming in, I look at him as a very versatile offensive lineman, and the thing about playing in the Senior Bowl is that you're coached by professional coaches, and so they look at your they look at your skill set, and they put you in a position that they feel like that you will be successful in the National Football League. So I think playing center, you work him at center, and you see how he's able to make the calls. So therefore you see his intelligence, but you see how quick he's able to reach people and be able to move from the center position. And from everything that I'm hearing, I think he's having a pretty good week. So that's tremendous for him. But, you know, what I love about the Senior Bowl is that you're playing against your class. You're playing against the best of your class that's going to be entering the National Football League. And just listening to you guys talk earlier, I think when you look at the Power Five, for me, when I was coming out, you know, I saw the guys from Alabama, I saw the guys from Miami, I saw the guys from Notre Dame, Penn State, those guys. So for me, I could not wait to go one-on-one with the guys that you see that I saw playing on the national scene. So I think I can speak for every player that doesn't play for the Power Five, or a player that plays in the SWAC, or a player that plays for the University of Memphis. Now you get an opportunity to showcase your talent, because let's be honest, it is about the Power Five. And just listen to you guys say it, I don't think that's a fair assessment. I think when it comes down to athletes and being able to play football, I think this is the type of games and type of practices that you can showcase your talent. And unfortunately, guys, there are guys that get drafted because of the schools that play for. But I'm just going to, mention some running backs that come out of Memphis. When you look at the draft few years, third rounders, fourth rounders, when you look at Tony Pollard, when you look at Antonio Gibson, they're every down backs and they're playing, and both probably should be. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, they probably should be playing or starting every down. And I think the only player that's probably not playing and he's moving around has been the highest draft pick when you look at Anthony Miller. But the other guys, they're able to play. So it's competition and it's being able to play. And just like you guys were talking about earlier, when Memphis plays on national television and they play against Power Five schools, I think they play exceptionally well when you look at them playing against UCLA. So I think this is a stage for you to be able to showcase your talent and for scouts to be able to see you go against these other schools. And I'm just elated to hear about what Parham is doing. You got Fedarius Mathis from Alabama, and you got Devontae Wyatt. So to match up and go against these guys, these are guys that are projected to be first rounders, maybe second round guys. So good look for Parham.
So Russ, when is it okay if I call you Russ first of all?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So Russ, when you look at a guy like Calvin Austin, you were a wide receiver yourself, and a damn good one at that. Where do you think he matches up as far as the talent at a slot position or a smaller wide receiver at the NFL level? He's down here. We've been watching him every day. He's down here just smoking guys off the line. We had him on the show last week. His first step is just incredible. And I do believe he has made himself at least if not a fourth or fifth round pick, a sixth round pick, no later. Where do you think he ends up when it comes to the draft? Can you hear me, Russell?
Hey, I can't hear anything.
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear us now, Russell? Yeah, Russ. So when you look at the Senior Bowl this year, I mean, we're just talking about he's got one of the fastest we've seen in a long time. So there's videos all over Twitter, over TikTok, just showing just how talented that young man is, and we appreciate Russell Copeland coming on this morning. He's having technical difficulties, but Russell brought up a good point. You know, you look at guys like when he was coming up. You know who the top tier programs are. It's secret. But a guy like Austin, a guy like Durham, for example, these guys are playing in a bowl game, and they've got the whole city. They're wearing that Tiger Hunt with pride, and it just excites me to be able to be down here and cover these guys. We got back with us now, Brent.
Russell, can you hear me okay? I was having a little technical difficulties.
Yeah, we're having a lot of technical difficulties. You guys are going in and out, but I think you were talking about Calvin Austin. So if you can continue the conversation of what you've seen from Calvin Austin this week, and we can proceed with that.
Yeah, so before we lost you, I didn't know if you heard me, but I was talking about you being a former NFL wide receiver yourself. Where do you think Calvin can fall as far as the draft? Right now, I think he has only helped his draft stock with this week. I'm not sure if you've seen videos of him exploding off the line. His first step is just it's probably the best first step that's down here. There's 33 wide receivers that are at the Senior Bowl, and he is just smoking every single DB that's out there. I think he's only helped his draft stock, and if I had to put him somewhere, it'd be between the 4th and 6th round. Where do you think he ends up?
Well, as of now, I look at the 3rd and 5th, somewhere in between that 4th and 6th could also be accurate as of right now. But I think this is time for you to make money. And when you're at the Senior Bowl and you're going against or you're practicing with wide receivers that's in your class, such as, Dotson from Penn State, you look at Dubs, Dontario Drummond, Danny Gray, Reggie Robinson, those type of guys. Now you want to look at the defensive backs that you're going against, and I like Darren Kendrick from Georgia. Either you're practicing against these guys or you're going to go against them in the game. I like Mathis from Pittsburgh, and I also like McCrary from Auburn. He's a physical, a bigger corner. Man-to-man type of corner, and also Marcus Jones. You look at him from Houston. I saw them play, go against one another exclusively. Marcus Jones was following Calvin Austin, and that's when Calvin Austin had basically an injured ankle. But for him, he reminds me of a Deontay Harris from New Orleans. You look at Deontay Spencer from the Broncos, Scotty Miller for the Bucks, and also the old veteran Cole Beasley. I think when you talk about the National Football League, they look at things that you cannot do. They look at how you're going to be able to translate to the National Football League. So durability is going to be a big question for him. The size for him, being able to take the punishment for him. But as far as quickness, as far as speed, as far as explosiveness, and as far as route running, he's amongst the best guys that you'll see coming out of the draft this year. I had a chance to watch Calvin throughout the entire football year. I watched him warm up. I watched him go against press coverage. I watched him go against press bail. I watched him go against zone. And he has an awareness of the football field. He understands how to run routes, how to get open against press coverage, against a physical cornerback. He understands where the zones are. Very smart, intellectual player. I think what's impressed me over the years with Calvin is that he's not a track guy anymore playing football. He's a football guy that has speed. And much like when you look at a Tyreek Hill is built a little bit bigger. But as far as the speed, as far as the agility, as far as being able to catch the football, making moves, running after the catch, he has all those qualities.
I overheard a couple NFL scouts just sitting up there on Tuesday. They were talking about him being comparable to Rondell Moore out of Purdue. I mean, I think that's a great comparison. Another young guy who was drafted last year, who showed promise this past year. What are your thoughts on that comparison? I thought it was a pretty good comparison with him. Both smaller guys, both have electric route running, great first steps off the ball. You being the talented one out of the three of us, I just want to hear your take on that.
Rondell Moore has home run speed. He's able to catch the football, and once you get the football in his hands, he's able to take it the distance, and he's learning how to be able to go against NFL defenses, how to read defenses with the safeties in the corners, and just be able how to set a defensive back up. And that's something that speed guys have to be able to learn. When you have that much speed, most defensive backs do not want to get beat deep. So you have to be able to gauge your speed, and you get open at the beginning of your route, the top 5 yards of your route, and at the end of your route. And I think Calvin Austin possesses all that. But I'm very impressed of the showing that he's showing at the Senior Bowl, because as I mentioned before, these are NFL coaches. He's learning NFL routes. He's being taught how to get open from NFL coaches. And the same thing is for the defensive backs that he's going against. So to go to the Senior Bowl and impress the NFL coaches and the scouts, whoever may be there to watch him individually, it's great for him. He's putting money in the bank right now, because his draft status is going to be climbing from here until the draft. And I think the next important thing for Calvin Austin is going to be the combine. And if he can run a high 4.2, a low 4.3, he's constantly making money, and then his individual workout. But just take mine again, the National Football League, they want players that can come in and play, but they always are going to look at things that you cannot do. So once you start working out, once you start playing for NFL scouts, playing in these bowl games, all-star games, so to speak, you can either gain money or you're losing money. And I think Calvin Austin is going to continue to decline. And before it's all said and done, do not be surprised if you hear his name somewhere in the third round.
When you look at the Senior Bowl, obviously this year the two teams are the Jets and the Lions. Talk a little bit about what it's like for these young men, not just Calvin, everyone here. Talk a little bit about what it's like to go from a college coaching staff to an NFL coaching staff. It's just being down here. They are intense. They're in your face. They're letting you know when you make a good play, when you make a bad.
Well, I think for the guys, it's pretty much like a rookie minicamp. It's almost as if it's a symposium, but you're on the field. It's an introduction to the National Football League, and you're just getting a small dose in this week. But you understand now the expectancy from an NFL coach, from a head coach, from the position coaches, and that goes to the general manager and it goes to the owner. Now you're coming from playing in college football to a business. Now this is going to be your job. This is going to be an investment, and everything that you do on and off the field. Now you can gain money or you can lose money. It's just that simple. Everything that you do now is about the job. It's about an organization signing you, and what asset can you be to that organization. And I just think it's great. I think the Senior Bowl, to me, not a knock on any of the other bowls, but I just love the Senior Bowl because, in my opinion, it's the best of the best. And when you have an opportunity to talk to your future employer, whether it's with the Jets or whether it's with someone else, but this is how the NFL operates. And this is what you're going to be a part of. And this is what you play college football for. You want to have an opportunity to play in the National Football League. And now all of these guys here are trying to put their talent on display to show that they can be a valuable asset to one of the 32 NFL teams. But I just loved it. I had the opportunity the Cleveland Browns. I worked with Bill Belichick when he was with the Cleveland Browns, and I was just amazed. And I think I had some great coaches at Memphis. But learning some things that I learned within that week propelled me to get ready for the NFL draft, and it propelled me to be ready for the rookie minicamp and the mini camps that we would have over the summer.
About it's a business. That's what this is. From now on, for these young men, it's a business. Everything they do moving forward is going to be scrutinized, both on and off the field. Talk a little bit about what these guys are like. What kind of questions are these guys getting? Like, I mean, obviously they're all 32 NFL teams here. They're everywhere. Talk a little bit about the meetings and things like that that's going on this week that some of our fans may not know about.
I think when it gets to an individual basis, I mean, you may have a position coach that's going to ask you everything on a personal level. He may ask you things, what do you like to do outside of football? You may get those type of questions as well. Do you like to hang out? What impresses you about the National Football League? What do you feel like that you can bring to the National Football League? What do you feel like are your strengths? What do you feel like are your weaknesses? Do you spend a lot of time watching film? And these are things that they're going to ask you, and they're also going to see from a personal standpoint, are you coachable? Because these players have been in college, and some of them have had different levels of coaching, different levels of competition. So now they're going to have to use different techniques. And we talked about Parham. There's going to be some cornerbacks that may be moved to safety. There may be some linebackers that may be moved to safety. There may be some wide receivers that may be moved to tight end. There may be some running backs that may have to learn wide receiver routes as well. There may be some linemen that may get pushed around from center to guard to tackle, and just see how your attitude is, to see how you're able to take on that coaching when you're moved around and you're not in a comfortable situation. Then they want to be able to see how you progress each day, because they're going to look at film, they're going to talk about film, and they want to see how well that you're doing from day to day, and they want to see how you go against top competition, and just say how you bounce back, your consistency. If you had a good week of practice the first couple of days, how did you finish the week? You look at the weather. If it's raining, if it's wet, how did you play in a different weather situations? These are the type of things they're going to look at. These are the type of things they're going to ask. They're even ask you as a wide receiver, what happened on that route? And the biggest thing for me is that you say, Coach, I did not do that very well. What do you think that I can do better? Do not make excuses. Just say, I did not do that well. My technique wasn't good. I dropped that pass because I didn't look the football in. Things of that nature. But they just want to see your progression. They want to see your progression, and they want to see how you can fit into an NFL locker room. And if you are a quarterback, they want to see your leadership skills. They want to see how you. They want to see if you can be the face of the franchise, and also they want to understand how intelligent you are from a quarterback standpoint. How fast are you able to process the plays that are put in when things are when you go from the film room to you go on the football field?
One big change that these guys are dealing with is the play calling. Obviously, in the NFL, it comes through the headset, and in college, it does not. You're doing signs and all that different stuff. Talk a little bit about the transition for a quarterback, and also, I know in the NFL, the verbiage is all completely different. Am I correct on that?
Yes, the verbiage is different, and for me coming in is that something that may have meant something totally different in college. It's totally different when you get in the National Football League. So now you have to train your mind to understand this is what this means now. From a wide receiver standpoint, the trees are going to be the same. 0 is going to be a hitch, 1 is going to be a quick out, 3 is going to be an out, 4 is a curl. 5 is going to be a deep comeback, 6 is going to be a dig. But it's how the players are called for you to be able to run these routes. And the biggest thing in the National Football League is that coverages are disguised a lot more than they are in college. And I think a lot of these college quarterbacks, the coaches see what the defenses are. They stop at the line of scrimmage. They turn around and they get a signal or they get a new play call from their coach. In the National Football League, it's not that. Things are running really fast. So quarterbacks have to be able to get into the film room. They have to understand, what's going on. But the toughest thing to me for a quarterback is experience. I think it's the hardest position to evaluate talent, from that talent to go from college to the National Football League and get the speed of the game. And I think a lot of quarterbacks struggle with that. I think they have to get into the fire. They have to understand the blitzes. They have to understand the routes. And the difference for a quarterback is that you don't have time to look over at the coach. You have to get to the line of scrimmage. And instead of your coach making these calls, you have to make the calls where the Mike linebacker is. You have to make the calls to your offensive line. And now you have to be able to look at the play clock and look at the coverages, and coverages change. Safeties play with you, cornerbacks play with you. So you have to be able to figure that out and understand who's your hot read, understand the blitzes. So that's the toughest thing for quarterbacks. But in order for a quarterback to be able to be a good, solid quarterback, he's going to have to go to the fire, and he's going to have to learn on the fly, and he's going to have to take some bumps and bruises. But the quicker that he understands coverages, understand the speeds of the game, and he's able to make those calls himself at the line of scrimmage, then he'll be a productive NFL quarterback.
And we have so much information. It's walking encyclopedia of football information, man. It's really fun to have you on the show and get all the insight that you bring. You just talked about quarterbacks. Obviously, all eyes are on the quarterbacks down here in Mobile. Give me who you think is the most polarizing quarterback down here.
Well, I like Malik Willis from Liberty. I think he's a playmaker. He makes a lot of plays. He throw the football, get outside of the pocket. I think Kenny Pickett is going to, surprise a lot of guys. With this draft, I'm not sure if you have a solid first-round draft pick. And that's just my opinion. We'll see. I think you may see late first-rounders. You may see early second-rounder. But I'm not sure out of all of these guys now that you're going to have a day one starter. I think you have a lot of players that have a lot of talent. Desmond Ridder is someone that I'm going to keep an eye on. I think, playing for Cincinnati, I think he's a playmaker type of quarterback. The rest of the quarterbacks, they're going to be a typical drop back quarterback. When you look at Sam Howell, you look at Carson Strong, and you look at Bailey from Western Kentucky. I think these are just drop back quarterbacks. But those two quarterbacks, to me, I think are the head of the class. When you look at and back in this the Liberty quarterback. But I'm not sure from this point on that there is a shoe-in first-round draft pick. When you look at the last couple of years, you pretty much knew who was going in the first round. And I think last year you had 5 quarterbacks that ended up going in the first round. So I don't think this quarterback is as deep as that. But I would like to see Desmond Ridder. And Desmond Ridder reminds me of a Colin Kaepernick type of player, how he runs with the football, how he throws the football. But I think right now he's a second or third round projection.
Man, just about everybody down here has just about I want to say I at least want to say late first round pick as far as it goes with a guy like not Bailey Zappi. Dang it, Kenny Pickett. I'm sorry, I keep losing names. There's so many guys down here, but I do think that a guy like Kenny Pickett, like you said, he's a polarizing guy. But Malik Willis, in my opinion, has been outplaying him by far. When it comes to certain guys down here, I think the biggest underdog as far as winning and losing this week is a guy like Carson Strong. He has a strong arm. He gets rid of the ball very quick. And I just think I think he's a good quarterback candidate for the NFL. Now, I do agree with you. I think that he is more of a third round, fourth round type guy. But I do believe he can come in and make a good argument to be one of the better quarterbacks down here. Sorry, we got some stuff going on in the background. That's why I'm a little distracted. But Russell, that was the last kind of comment I had for you. Thank you for coming on, man. You're a Tiger legend. I wish I was born back when you were playing. I would have loved to have seen you and Isaac play together. I'm 26 years old, man. I got to see the end of your NFL career, and I saw all your games with the Maniacs. So,
well, thank you, appreciate it. We definitely had a lot of fun back then, Isaac and I, Steve Matthews. I think we had a great football team then. But I'm just excited about where the program has been. I'm excited about the talent that comes out every year, and it just makes you feel good as a Tiger to see Tigers playing in the National Football League. They're playing well. It just really tickles me, and I'm just very elated about what the players are doing this week down at the Senior Bowl as far as Calvin Austin and Dylan Parham. They're definitely representing the Memphis Tigers. So it's always go Tigers, and thank you guys for having me on the show.
Yeah, Russell, man, thank you very much for coming on with us. You've been great to 4-Star Sports Media. We appreciate all your support, all your help throughout this journey so far. And we're having a great time down here at the Senior Bowl down in Mobile. But Russell, man, thank you very much for coming on with us. We appreciate it, and we'd love to have you back on whenever you're available.
Thank you, man. You guys enjoy.
Thank you, Russell. Yeah, Brandon, when you look at the Senior Bowl, man, it's been a great 3 days down here of practice. Today's the last day of practice. But, man, I tell you what, man, Russell Copeland is just full of knowledge, full of just knowledge on so many different things. It's really fun to see.
yeah, it absolutely is fun to see. I'm sorry, Wes. Sorry to our listeners. We had a little bit going on in the background. It was a little weird question for just a second. But, yeah, this week has been unbelievable. I can't wait to come back next year, hopefully, and do it again. And to everybody who's been supporting us this week, this isn't our last broadcast. Tomorrow I might get a bit emotional just because we've worked so hard to get to this point. Hell, I might get emotional right now. But we've worked so hard to get to this point, and to have people come on our show like Russell Copeland, Tony Siracusa, and so many others throughout the week has just been a blessing to not only me and Wes, but we got 4 more guys coming on tomorrow, which is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do a full show tomorrow morning. And guys and girls, if y'all are listening, I can't express this enough. Thank you for supporting us. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to be doing this right now. And Wes and I are just very blessed and lucky to be in this situation. And if it, like I said, and I can't reiterate it enough, if it wasn't for our sponsors, if it wasn't for our listeners, we would not be here right now.
Yeah, most definitely, man. Brandon, we're gonna bring a guy on them Razorback Zach real quick.
Oh,
He wants to talk to us a little bit. Zach, how you doing, man? Zach, are you there? Can you hear us? Well, Razorback Zach's in the room. I don't know where he's at the moment.
Razorback right there. But we can't hear a thing that he's saying. So,
Can you hear us?
oh, I just heard him. He said, "Can you hear me?" I did hear you.
What's going on, fellas?
Man, we were just getting ready for practice day number 3 today from Mobile. Just had Russell Copeland on. You know, Zach, Russell talked a lot about the transition from college over to the pro level. John Ridgeway the third's down here. Silver, the long snapper for Arkansas, is down here. Just talking about Arkansas guys. Ridgeway had a good day yesterday, and I tell you what, man, I know Brandon mentioned it last night on the Pick'em show, but when Silver snaps the ball, it is a frozen rope to the holder.
Yeah, he when he was at Arkansas, you didn't see, and me and Christian talked about this last night on the Pick'em show as well. You didn't see very many bad snaps like you do sometimes out of these other teams. That you don't see the over the head snap. You don't see a low snap or anything like that. and that's a credit to his coaching staff and to him as a player as well. Let's see if I can. There we go.
If you're going to be on camera, I'm going to be on camera.
Always. Hey, I wanted to ask you guys, what is the weather like down there right now?
Piss poor. It's been raining since we got here.
Well, congratulations, fellas. You got rain. We got about 2 inches of ice on the ground up here in Arkansas right now.
Heck yeah. See, our roads are drivable down here. Your roads,
ours are not.
I hear it's not so much.
No. I'm actually down in South Central Arkansas, down in the Benton area, and it is a ghost town outside right now. And I just walked back from Kroger just a few minutes ago, and yeah, these roads. If you're watching from Arkansas right now, do not get out if you can help it.
Or any listener that we have that is dealing with inclement weather right now, that's nationwide. Be safe if you're driving on the road. Go slow, brake, tap brakes, don't jerk the wheel, don't jam the brakes, all that good stuff.
Well, I'll tell you guys, this winter storm goes all the way to North Texas.
Zach, and day 3 is today. Practice will today on ESPNU beginning at 11 o'clock, and then ESPN for the American team. Zach, give me a guy that you're really looking forward to day 3 to see how they can improve their draft.
I'm sorry, Wes, you cut in and out there for a minute, buddy.
Give me a guy who you believe is going to improve the draft stock today.
Man, that's a tough one. I got to go with my Arkansas guys. I got to go with Jordan Silver and John Ridgeway. John Ridgeway is probably going to go a little bit higher in the draft because let's face it, he's on the defensive line, and not very many people draft a long snapper every now and then. You see one go in the later rounds, but right now, and for me, I'd say John Ridgeway can definitely improve his draft stock today. What are you guys looking for? I'm going to turn the table. What are you guys? What are you guys looking for on day 3 that you didn't see the last 2 days?
Desmond Ridder took a big step yesterday at practice. Day 1 practice, he was not very good. He took a big step yesterday. Malik Willis, another quarterback, took a big step yesterday. Brandon said it earlier on the show. Brian Robinson from Alabama is a guy I want to see step up today. Another guy, the tight end room is very, very, very deep. The Ohio State tight end is very talented. The young man McBride from Colorado State is a guy that I'm really interested by. He's got a big build to him. He can but on the defensive side of things, man, I wrote an article on the young man yesterday. Greg Jr. out of Ouachita Baptist. I'm really excited to see how Greg takes that next level, how he improves his practice. Because, man, I'll be honest with you, Zach. He's, as I titled the article, he's unnoticed no more. The NFL scouts know who that young man is down here. You mute.
Sorry, we're having technical difficulties on my end because Wes, you're cutting in and out real bad, and my mic's all crazy. Let me ask again: the Greg Jr. out of Ouachita Baptist, where do you guys see him projected in the draft? Brandon, I want to get your take. Where do you think? Brandon, you are muted.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay. Being a low-end D2 guy, it's hard to place him somewhere just because there's not a whole lot of film on him from playing against other opponents. And I kind of went on a rant before you got on here and before we interviewed Russell, talking about how it doesn't matter if you're an NAIA D2, D3, or D1 guy. You go out there, you line up 11 on 11, you snap the ball, you play your hardest, you can end up anywhere. A win's a win. Football teams win games. And Gregory Jr. is the type of football player that can allow your team to win a football game. When I look at him, I could place him anywhere in the 4th to 5th round range. I think he's that type of talent. I think it would shock a lot of people to put him there. And I'm not saying this just because I like him, but the Cowboys need depth at the DB position. He's a hell of a DB. Why not take a chance on this young man? Give him an opportunity.
Jerry,
he's from Crossett, Arkansas. I mean, that's what, 2.5 hours from Dallas, maybe?
No, that's it.
Well, is it really? Okay. Well, y'all are southeast.
It's a little bit. It's a little bit further than 2 hours.
The young man, that's not far from home. Jerry Jones is pretty good about giving people an opportunity that need it when it comes to players.
Well, Cliff Harris played.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I think I'd put him in that 4th, 5th round range. I think that's a perfect guesstimate for me. Now, I'm not a scout, so I'm sure scouts will tell you something other than what I've seen this week. They've watched him a little more in depth than I have. But I think everybody in that Ouachita fan base, the school, the whole program, I think they should be excited for what they have out of this young man. And I think he's going to really impress some people on Saturday during the game as well.
Yeah, Zach, I'm not going to say if, because I honestly believe Gregory Jr. will be drafted in the 2022 draft. I think he has that kind of talent. He would be the second player from Arkansas to ever go in the NFL draft. The first was a guy named Keith Kidd, who was by the Vikings back in the early 80s. When you look at Greg Jr., he's got speed, he's got hands. You take his measurables and you take all his numbers and you give a blind resume. Mm-hmm. Gregory Jr. and a guy from Alabama, or I don't want to say Alabama, a guy from whoever, a Power 5 school. You take the names off there, you take everything. It'll be hard to tell. He's got the measurables. He's got the accolades to play that position. I think I'm going to go right on the head. Late 3rd round, I think would be. I think would be about right, Zach. Late 3rd, early 4th.
Okay. Well, that's not bad because, I mean, think about it, y'all. The greatest to ever play the game of football, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to throw up a little bit in my mouth, was a 6th round draft pick. Okay? When he played against Arkansas in the 99 Orange Bowl, Citrus Bowl, he came off the bench and beat us. He didn't start the game. He got his start when the starting quarterback in the NFL went down, and he went on to be the greatest of all time. Albeit he had a little controversy around him. So, and I'm not trying to pump Junior's ego or anything, but we don't know. I mean, you take a chance on the guy. And you're right, Wes. Dallas is one of those teams in the NFL right now that need depth at the defensive back position.
They need help on the defense, man. I mean, let's just be honest about it. You're a Cowboy fan. Brandon's a new Cowboy fan.
Cincinnati Bengals fan.
Bengals fan. I apologize.
No, we traded.
Oh, okay. Man, when you look at Jesus. When you look at the Senior Bowl, Zach, it's been a lot of fun. Of course, today's at practice. Saturday is really the key. Saturday is when we're going to see full game, no more holding anything back. And I will say this. We talked about it earlier. The Lions and the Jets. These staff are coaching hard, man. They're coaching these kids up. They're really working with them, and it's funny. It really is. It's been very interesting to watch how these guys work together, how they do all that. John started and said, "Hey guys, Cade Mays, leading the lineman from Tennessee. Someone said he could be a fourth rounder. I think that's probably accurate, John. He hasn't looked bad. He hasn't really just overly ready. But yeah, I think he's going to be an okay line. Fifth round,
I think Mays will end up being a starting point in the NFL, but he hasn't looked great, hasn't looked terrible. They were going head to head, him and Dylan Parham. Parham put him on his ass the other day, which, I mean, me being a Memphis fan, it got me pretty high. But no, Mays is going to be a good, solid NFL lineman. Everybody down here is learning and working as hard as they can.
Johnson look 100%.
Yeah, he looked fine. I think everybody out there looks healthy. I don't think there's a single guy out there that's going to risk getting injured before the NFL draft or potentially competing in the combine. You look at a guy like Calvin Austin, who opted out of the bowl game. Of course, that bowl game was never played. We did come home with the trophy, by the way. Shout out Hawaii for the free trophy. Yeah, no, everybody down here looks pretty healthy. Calvin was dealing with that lingering ankle injury for, it looks like, months, and that kid is back. Like, he's 100% ready to go. Cade Mays, same situation, I think. And anybody that was down here that was injured definitely ain't injured right now. Knock on wood.
That I found interesting is that Brandon and I talked about it yesterday on the way back to the hotel. We haven't seen an injury. Day one, we saw a guy. It was either San Diego State. Yeah. First day, San Diego State or South Carolina. Somebody walked off the field. I don't know. He didn't look. I'm knock on wood, man. Praying for all these guys to remain healthy because this is a big week for everyone here. I mean, we've talked about Calvin a lot and Dylan and Greg and all that, but no respect to anyone here. This is the best of the best. They're college football players than who's in Mobile, Alabama for the 2022 Senior Bowl. Think about it. Mac Jones was down here just last year. It doesn't take.
I mean, it was Mac Jones, Norris, Devontae Smith, who didn't play in the game, but he was down here participating because he was coming off of an injury. I mean, this game is full of guys who are just stars.
Yeah.
And this year, I don't think it's any different from any other year. And as we kind of said earlier, we alluded to it, Jim Nagy builds these rosters, and he's done an incredible job with what he's been able to do with the Senior Bowl. He's built it up to it's a game that you're going to want to watch. It's a national event. There's all kinds of media down here. I mean, if you watch on ESPN today, Zach, and you look at the away sideline, the other sideline where the press boxes aren't, that's all media. It's not just fans. The upper section is fans. The bottom section is all media.
So that's where y'all are going to be
You're talking 300, 400, 500 media members watching a practice, trying to get a glimpse of the next best guy that's going to be in the NFL. And Russell Copeland kind of talked about it, and all eyes are on the quarterbacks, such as Kenny Pickett and Malik Willis. There's other guys on that field other than the quarterback that are making a name for themselves this week and are only going to help themselves get drafted.
Yeah, John started to ask about Kobe Bryant from Cincinnati. Kobe Bryant's looked pretty good yesterday. Desmond Ritter threw a pass, but absolutely he torched him yesterday. He flew on a deep post route. It was a double move. But he burned the hell out of him yesterday. But yeah, Kobe Bryant's looking good. Also on the Greg Jr. side of things, I really find it really interesting that they're matching him up against guys like Braylon Evans, receiver. And I'll be honest with you, like I said earlier, if you put a is there anybody that you want information on while we're down here? Thank you very much for watching now. Facebook, 4-Star Sports Media, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Zach, could you piece that together at all? What he said?
I have no idea what he just said.
I think you're on mute, but I understood what you said. Wes, do you want to repeat what you said into my mic over here? Wes is going to join me over here on the couch.
About time again.
All right, we're couching it again. Zach, when you look at these guys, man, Greg Jr. is matched up with some tough guys. They're matching him up against guys like Braylon Sanders from Ole Miss, a bigger receiver, he doesn't have DK Metcalf size, but he's got good size. Is there anybody down here that you want to see or you want to hear about that's been practicing?
Like I said earlier today, just the
I think you're on mute, buddy.
Emma, I'm still good. Can y'all not hear me? Can y'all hear me at all?
Zach, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can y'all hear me?
You're on mute, I think. I can't hear you.
Okay. Hold on.
Yeah, I think you're on mute, Zach. Oh, Zach is gone now. But yeah, thank you everybody watching this morning. We're getting ready to head to practice here in the next 10, 15 minutes or so. But Russell Copeland was on with us this morning, did an incredible job as always. We thank Russell for coming on with us. Zach is now back. Zach, speak. Are you still on mute or no?
Can you hear me?
Zach is frozen in time right now.
Well, that's it, folks. Shout out to.
But yeah, man. Anybody that wants to get an update on people down here playing in this game, reach out to us at 4-Star Sports West on Twitter, at Big Bad Bumgarner on Twitter, and also at 4-Star Sports Media. Reach out to us. Let us know what's going on, guys. But yeah, this has been a great time. We've had an amazing time this morning doing this show. But we're getting ready to close it out. Let me run over here real quick. I got to close it out over here. But yeah, it's been a great show. Bring it over now.
Yeah, guys, been a great show. Thank you for joining us. We will be back live tomorrow at 8 a.m. We're going to do a full 8 to 10 show. We're going to have 4 different guests for you tomorrow, and it's going to be a great time. Thank you to Sidecar Cafe, BA Masks, and Germantown Village Wine and Liquors for sponsoring this show. And we're excited to be down here and share some great stories with you. We might come back on later tonight. We're good at surprises, so y'all have a great day.